morning and welcome to KidNuz. I'm Kim. Today is Thursday, January 12th, 2023. And we begin with a California teen becoming a go-to source for online weather watchers. According to SF Gate, college freshman Colin McCarthy started his U.S. Storm Watch Twitter account in 2017 when he was just 13. He went viral during Hurricane Ian this fall, with more than 77,000 followers tuning into the updates he posted between classes or late at night from his dorm. He says he is fascinated by weather and likes to provide a lens into what's happening on the ground during extreme weather events. He's been especially busy this month with heavy storms in California. He posted that more than 20 trillion gallons of water is expected to fall on the Golden State by mid-January, with even more expected later in the month. But if you think the drought should be over, think again. Meteorologists say there is not enough room in the reservoirs to store all this water, and as one scientist told the Washington Post, the storms are like if you don't get paid for several months, and then your employer gives you one normal monthly paycheck. Most people are not going to feel their bank account is back to normal. If you happen to look up at the sky tonight, don't worry, you aren't seeing aliens. It's the rare green comet we told you about last week, finally making its earthly appearance. According to EarthSky, stargazers in the northern hemisphere should be able to spot E3 late tonight using a telescope or binoculars as it makes its closest approach to the sun. Over the next month, the comet will get closer to Earth, most likely around February 1st or 2nd, and should be visible in the southern hemisphere as well, possibly to the naked eye. The icy celestial object was discovered less than a year ago and has traveled billions of miles from the edge of our solar system. It can be distinguished from stars by its streaking tails of dust particles and what looks like a glowing green comma surrounding it. Octopuses are among the smartest animals in the ocean. They can navigate through mazes, complete tasks for food, and recognize human faces. Now they've also been observed throwing things at each other. This is pretty unusual in the animal world. Only a few have been seen doing this, including chimpanzees, elephants, and birds. But a group of scientists in Australia recently decided to study the social behavior of these underwater invertebrates, and were surprised to discover octopuses scooping up silt, algae, and even shells, then using one of their 8 arms to sling it at an approaching neighbor. The scientists say they don't know the reason for the aggression, but suspect it may be to protect the animal's personal space. The findings were published in the journal PLOS ONE in November. In today's KidNuz notes, it was another awful day for air travel yesterday. According to CNN, the FAA rebooted one of its systems early Wednesday morning and basically crashed a key program that lets pilots know of issues in the air or at their destination. Without it, no planes can fly. The outage led to massive flight delays and an unprecedented order to stop all departures nationwide. The problem only lasted a few hours, but the damage was done. More than 1,000 flights were canceled and nearly 9,000 delayed. Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin is now back home. Doctors say he'll do rehab with his team, and they expect him to continue to improve, but that it is much too soon to know whether he'll be able to play again. They also indicated that they won't do any press conferences or provide further updates out of respect for him and his family. And several big-name tennis players are bowing out of the first Grand Slam tournament of the year. According to ESPN, Naomi Osaka has announced she will not play in the Australian Open as she is pregnant. Neither will Venus Williams due to injury. World number 1 Carlos Alcaraz is also out with a leg injury. The 19-year-old Spaniard was the talk of the tennis world after winning the U.S. Open in August and becoming the youngest world and year-end number 1 player in ATP history. He was also the youngest to beat both Novak Djokovic and Rafael Nadal, who are both expected to play down under. Nicknamed the Happy Slam for its perfect weather and party atmosphere, the Australian Open kicks off Monday in Melbourne. That's it for KidNuz. Now today's KidNuz quiz. How old was the teenage weather watcher Colin McCarthy when he started his now viral account? 13. When will the green comet E3 be visible? Tonight in the northern hemisphere, early February in the southern. What ocean animal has been observed throwing things to perhaps protect its personal space? Octopuses, which linguists say is the preferred way to pluralize octopus. Which Grand Slam tennis tournament is set to begin next week? The Australian Open. In today's KidNuz Kicker, turns out there may actually be a science to skipping rocks. According to The Guardian, 2 mathematicians from England have created a model to figure out what type of stone can produce almighty leaps out of the water when skimmed across the surface. While people have long sought out thin, flat stones for skimming, they say heavier stones shaped like a potato can actually achieve more dramatic results. The scientists plan to use the data to help with other problems such as the ice buildup on an aircraft at altitude and what happens when planes land on water. Before we go, we want to shout out our teachers and classrooms. Mrs. Leitner's 5th grade flock at Greenfield School in Fairfield, Montana. Mrs. Marston's students at Mount Pleasant School in Nashua, New Hampshire, who always try to be kind and work hard. Mrs. Delgado, who is Nia and Imani Sharp's teacher at Indian Valley Elementary in Overland Park, Kansas. And to California for Ms. Rodriguez's Team Rodriguez at Ronald Reagan Elementary in Palm Desert. Ms. Fun and her Palm Panthers at Palm Avenue Elementary in San Bernardino, and Miss Brant's Silver Knights at Riverside Prep Elementary in Oro Grande. Thanks for listening. Please rate, review, subscribe, and share KidNuz with all your friends and family. And we'll see you back here for more KidNuz tomorrow morning.